Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're reviewing a classic G-Wagon with a diesel, and this has been converted to be an Overland build. It's really cool. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Warner Ineos Grenadier for giving me some time with this G-Wagon. They sell the new Grenadiers, but they also get really cool trade-ins like this G-Wagon, so definitely check out their website in the description down below. If you have any questions, you need any help, just ask for Corey. And then quick disclaimer, I specialize in reviewing new cars, not classic cars, so this is not going to be the most educational review on the planet. I'll do the best that I can, but just understand that when it comes to vehicles like this, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's get into it. So for the 1983 model year, which this is a 1983, everything that I found on Google says that this has a 5-cylinder engine and it produces about 87 horsepower and then 126 pound-feet of torque. The only thing that I'm confused about is it says that it has a 4-speed manual transmission, but you guys will see this one has a 5-speed, so I'm wondering if this is a different powertrain, but this is a G300. So if you know more about this, let us know in the comment section below to correct me, but we'll also see if it feels like 87 horsepower when we drive it on the road. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, you probably noticed from the thumbnail, we've got the lights there up top with the roof rack, which I don't know if I'm tall enough to really show you guys a good view of that roof rack. There's also lights there on the side, which is cool. And then you can see the snorkel as well. And notice how the intake is actually on the side, right, rather than, you know, being facing forward, which is very interesting. You've got the classic G-Wagon hood design with the turn signal indicators on top of the hood, and then we have more lights. These look like dust lights down below. This is a pretty hardcore bumper, ARB, which they make really good stuff. Got recovery points down below, and then this has a solid front axle. This is when G-Wagons used to have solid front axles, believe it or not. But yeah, with the front end, I mean, this thing just looks so cool. Now I've got some big tires, 285, 75, 17 in the front and over in the rear. And you can see with the wheels, kind of has that classic off-road. I see a lot of wheels like this style on Jeeps as well. But yeah, these are great tires, as you can see. And then it looks like it's got Bilstein suspension with this lift kit and everything. I know they make lift kits for basically everything, so it makes sense. I love the fender flare here. I think that's really cool looking. And then this is kind of like a classic G-Wagon thing, and yes, it also does have the classic G-Wagon doors where, yeah, it just has such a solid sound. I like the exhaust tip poking out the side. Before G63s were a thing, you had diesels with exhaust tips out the side. And then we do have a solid rear axle, and then you can see again Bilstein with the shocks and everything. It'll be interesting to see how that rides, but if we take a few steps back, here's your full side profile. And I know this is not the best size comparison, but you can see we've got some cargo vans there in the background. Like this is a tall vehicle. The fact that it doesn't look too out of place size-wise with some cargo vans in terms of height just shows you how high this thing rides. Now, of course, being from 1983, we've got just a regular key fob. The good old days when you just had a key. You didn't have a fancy $300 micro computer, whatever you want to call it. Now this also has spare gas on the back. It's on this little mechanism that you actually have to kind of pull up and everything, and it also has a latch with it. And that will allow you to actually open the door here in the back. You can see the window there. I like how this has a sticker that says, "I am not fast." So that's funny. There's even a handle from the inside, and the reason is this has jump seats. Back in the day when jump seats were a thing. That's such a cool throwback, and I love the design here on the seats themselves. And look at the floor, super practical in terms of, you know, cleaning that off. So I think that's really a cool setup. And then of course it has the normal G-Wagon sound. Now we also have a full-size spare on the back as well. It's on its own little swing system, which is pretty cool. So it allows you to still use the doors to open them, but you can also have stuff stored in the back. So yeah, that kind of sums things up for the exterior. Let me know what you guys think about the style on this. Now inside, it's going to be a little more basic with the material use. That's kind of what things were like back then. All you need and nothing you don't. And it has hand crank windows. That's also another cool throwback. I kind of miss these sometimes. And then here are the seats. Again, really cool design. Let's see what getting in's like. You gotta kind of, ooh. I guess I gotta use the seat a little bit. Man, that is high off the ground. But room back here is great, actually. Headroom too, it's really good. I don't know if this is stock, but this is cool what they've done with this roof here. But yeah, I mean, you can see like the jump seats in the back. This would be such a fun adventure vehicle with some people. And you do have stadium seating, so you can see kind of higher up in the back. Up front is more of the same, the Mercedes, and you have giant mirrors. And then again with the really cool retro seats up front. And then 3-pedal layout because it's a manual transmission. And we'll pop in again, you gotta kind of step up quite a bit. But look at the steering wheel, it is enormous. It's like a bus steering wheel. It's crazy. But again, simplicity is everything. You can see turn signal stock, windshield wiper stock, and then you got mostly analog gauges, and we do have locking diffs. You know, it is a G Wagon, so you've got all of that as well. And then the startup procedure is pretty straightforward. So just like, you know, diesels in the past, you turn it over, not all the way, but just to get the electronics running. So it should be there. You can kind of see, well, I don't know if you saw, but the gauges and everything pop on. So you got to let it do its little preheat thing, just like modern diesels. And once it's gone through everything, you can crank it over. And this thing, I mean, you guys heard that. It starts right up. It is crazy. A car from 1983. I mean, this is over 40 years old at this point. And it just, yeah, starts right up. So anyways, in the center here, you can see they have everything nicely labeled with what lights do what, which I think is obviously a nice thing to have. And then you can see the climate controls of the sliders. Again, that's such a throwback there. To be honest, I don't know what this does. It has a little button on it, and yeah, I don't know what that's about. So anyways, more vents down below. And then like I said, 5-speed manual. I don't know if the 5th gear is fake, but again, Google said 4-speed, but this has a 5-speed. And then you got a grab handle up top, and then you can see with the glove box there. And that's pretty much everything. So I mean, I'll give you guys a nice little revs. Also, you probably noticed that there are no RPMs. I kind of noticed that too. So I guess that you just have to shift when you think it's the right time to shift, which is such a strange thing in a manual car, but I guess that's what it was like back in the 80s, right? Oh. You really got to pull those doors. So I didn't do a normal startup clip with this because I figured I would just let the diesel get nice and warmed up before we drive it. Is there any adjustment on these seats? So I've been trying to... Okay, that didn't do anything. So I've been trying to figure out if there's any... Oh, there we go. I think that's maybe good. The seat's a little bit... there we go. So, I guess talk about visibility. Here's visibility of the hood. Both of the giant mirrors. Those are fantastic. Yeah, visibility is great in this, and you sit really high up. Also, reverse is really weird. So, you pull it up, and then you go over. It took me a minute. Corey helped me out with showing that. He told me it took him a second to figure that out as well. I feel like this is another review where the vehicle's so upright with the seat that the GoPro view is probably gonna... Sorry, let me adjust this a little bit for you guys. So hopefully it's not the worst view on the planet with the GoPro, but let's see how this drives. I guess that you have to kind of shift this by hearing. I don't know. It's so strange to me driving a vehicle that has no tachometer that's a manual. Turn signal is kind of weird, the indicator. Okay, so first gear is definitely just a granny gear. It's easy to drive. Like, surprisingly, it's super easy to drive. Now again, I don't know where the red line is, so I'm gonna be conservative. I'm not gonna go all the way up to where the engine's screaming and all of that, but this is This is a much more exciting experience than I expected it to be. Because like I knew, you know, G-Wagons are always really cool, but I'm thinking old G-Wagon. But this is, with the hand crank windows and everything, it's a fun throwback. And I think again, don't quote me on this, but I think these older diesels are known to be pretty reliable. I mean, I feel like it speaks for itself that this vehicle is over 40 years old and it just starts right up. I know vehicles that are not even a year old that struggle to start right up. So, oh, and I forgot to mention this little shifter down here. It looks like this is for the four-wheel drive system. I'm pretty sure, from what I read, it's four-wheel drive all the time, and then you can pop it into four-wheel low. Parking brakes also. Yeah, there's a lot to this. Again, I am not a classic car person. I typically stick with the newer stuff, so give me a little bit of grace on this one. Interesting, the gas gauge is kind of with the turn signal. It's like wiggling a little bit with the turn signal. That is so interesting. We'll get our first kind of acceleration here. It's easy to drive. Yeah, it's definitely not fast though. Oh, so the turn signal didn't automatically turn off. So I think it has 5 gears. I think it doesn't, in fact, because I'm pretty sure it just went into 5th. Man, this is an interesting drive. It's louder from the engine, but the noise insulation is actually pretty solid. The wind noise and all that's not bad. I'm trying to remember kilometers to miles per hour, so I don't go too fast, but also don't go too. I feel like I'm going the proper speed. I think I'm going the proper speed at least. Man, I wish there was a seat adjustment so I could lean. I'm sure there is. I just haven't found it. Perhaps. I don't know. Super easy to drive though. Definitely slower for a modern car, but now the gas gauge is like wiggling over there. That's concerning. It's like how much diesel do I actually have in the tank? I wonder if it's just where it like kind of is around. The brakes are definitely not as touchy as what I'm used to with modern cars. They're kind of more like diesel, like a brand new diesel truck. These brakes kind of remind me of that. But this has so much torque that I think it'd be really hard to actually stall this. So we're continuing along again. And I'm still shocked at how easy this is to drive. Again, it's definitely old school. Not fast, that's for sure. But it's easy to drive. This is such a cool car. Now the fuel is just centered there, so maybe that's where it actually is. You just got to accept that while you're driving, sometimes it wiggles a little bit. But that's part of the experience, I think, with some of these older cars. And also getting passed by everyone because you're probably driving slightly too slow. Oh, I still have my turn signal on. I guess it didn't I don't think it has auto cancel with the turn signal, so. Summing things up, I came into this review just to this is one of those cars where I just reviewed it just to review it, right? I'm not super knowledgeable on it, and I'm not I love G-Wagons. I think they're cool cars, but I'm not a G-Wagon connoisseur, I guess you could say. And I leave this review thinking this is one of the coolest vehicles I've ever reviewed, simply because it drives so well. Like, it's got some things that, like the gauge clutch and everything, that indicate it's an older car, but I'm shocked at, like, the suspension is so buttery smooth. Like, how is this comfortable? Again, outside of the diesel being a little bit noisy, you could probably daily drive this. That's crazy to me that you could daily drive a 40-year-old vehicle. It's really cool though. Yeah, this is such an impressive vehicle, and I think it's got, what, 60... I mean, double check their website. I think it's 61,000 miles is what that indicates. Gosh, it feels like a farm truck. I love it. I'm just enjoying the rest of my time with this, because it's such a cool car. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this classic G-Wagon. But yeah, if you're looking for a clean classic G-Wagon that's already been kitted out with all the Overland stuff, and I mean, this thing's in great condition for a 40-year-old vehicle. I mean, the seats are like brand new. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this G-Wagon Overland build.